Hi guys, hope you guys are doing well. This is James from Divine Crochet. Welcome to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to share this super easy beginner friendly pattern for this iPad/laptop case. With Christmas coming up, I wanted to give a few handmade gifts that I know are actually going to get used, because I think my biggest fear is creating something for someone and it just kind of sitting in their collection because it's not necessarily their style. So I thought making iPad and laptop cases would be a super good idea, because a lot of my friends and family like to work in coffee shops or just generally travel with their electronics. So as long as I pick colours that they like, I know that they will get use out of it, obviously unless they have a case already, which then why am I giving them a case? This video is going to be split into two parts, with the first part being the general pattern of what we're creating and how I do the rectangular granny square and the construction and all of that. And the second part of the video is going to be me explaining how you can change the dimensions of the patterns to fit whatever size electronic you're making this case for. Obviously I'll give examples and all of that because I know that that can get quite complicated, especially if you're not 100% with maths. So I'll try and make it as easy to understand as I can. Without any further ado though, we'll go into materials and then we can start making our case. I used this recycled cotton that I got from Hobby. Not gonna lie, this kind of cotton is not my favourite to work with, but it works really well when it comes to cases and things that need to be a little bit sturdier. So any kind of dishcloth cotton, that kind of vibe is going to be good. I would say this cotton's more of an aran weight, so I would just go ahead and look for something around the same size. You'll also want to go ahead and use a 5mm hook and a pair of scissors. You can start with whichever colour you would like. For me, I'm going to start off by making a slip knot out of this white yarn. And to start off this case, we want to chain a multiple of 3 plus 2. So for me, that's going to be 11 because 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 2 is 11. I'll explain more of this later because this is going to be the bit that we change to change the dimensions of the case. So far I have got a total of 10 chain stitches, so I'm just going to go ahead and add my final one. That's going to act as my turning chain, so we're going to skip that and work into the second stitch away from the hook into the back bump. Now, if you're not used to working into the back bump, you could work into the back loop like you kind of learn as a beginner. For me, it's just kind of part of my crocheting habits to always work into the back bump now. If this isn't your vibe and you still want to crochet into the back loop or the back V, that's completely fine. That's not going to change the outcome of this case. So if that's more comfortable for you, just go ahead and do that. But whether you choose to crochet into the back bump or into the back loop, we just want to do one single crochet into each chain stitch. So because we chained 11 to start off with, we should have a total of 10 single crochets, and that 10th single crochet should go into the first chain you made at the start. Now, if you're familiar with making granny squares, this is effectively acting as our magic circle or as our chain 4 slip stitch, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be what we work our first round into. So now we're ready to start adding our double crochet clusters. So we're going to continue from where we finished off by chaining 2. And we're going to work our cluster into the last single crochet that we did. So the same way that you would go through the front and back loop, that's where we're going to be entering our hook. So you can see I'm entering my hook into the single crochet and then completing a double crochet. And for this first cluster, because the chain 2 counts as a double crochet, what we're going to do is just 2 of those clusters. And at this point I want to add one of my corners because this is going to kind of be the short side of the rectangle that we're trying to make. So we chain 2 to act as a corner, and then into the same spot that we just worked our cluster into, we're going to do our cluster of 3 double crochets. So you're not entering where you did your chains at the start, you're still entering around those chains into the space that was created by the single crochet. We're going to do those 3 double crochets And even though the chains are on top, we're still going to work around those chains into the spaces created by the single crochets. So we're going to skip 2 of those and work into the 3rd space made by the single crochet. So again, we're working around the chains that we made, not into. We're working into the space created by the single crochet. And this is the long side of the rectangle, so obviously there's not going to be any corners till we reach the end of this line. So I've got a few more clusters to add, so same again, you're going to skip 2 of the single crochets in the row at the bottom before entering 3 double crochets into the 3rd. This will be our last cluster of this line, which will be worked into the first single crochet that we did at the start of our 2nd row. This is going to be where we enter our final cluster before then having to add our corners. So I'm going to go ahead and do those 3 double crochets into that space before then chaining 2 to act as a corner. So far we've done 1 long side and 1 short side, so it's time for us to add in a singular cluster to act in our short side. So we're going to go ahead and do those 3 double crochets all into the same spot that we worked the previous cluster into. And once we've finished that, we can go ahead and add our next corner by chaining 2 and doing another cluster. So we should have a total of 9 double crochets into this one space. And now at this point we're ready to start adding our clusters to create our next long side. So this side's actually a little bit easier because we're still working into the same spaces that we worked into on the opposite side. So again, we'll skip 2 single crochets, and into the 3rd we can do our 3 double crochets. And if everything's gone right and well, then all of your clusters should be entered into the same stitches. So you can see I'm entering the single crochet by going underneath the front and back loop. You want to repeat this till you're working your final cluster into the space that you worked your first cluster into. So I'm doing my cluster of 3 here. And to finish off this first row of clusters, I'm going to chain 2, find the 2nd chain in the turning chain I did at the start, and I'm going to insert my hook through the front and back loop. You can insert this stitch any way that feels comfortable for you, and then you want to just go ahead and slip stitch, and that's going to be our first row of clusters done. So we can finish off our yarn and switch to a different colour. For this next row, you can see my ends are going to be sewn in here, so I don't want to start my project here. I actually want to start my project at a different point. Also, I didn't show you, but I turn my work in between adding each row. So this is the first time I've turned my work, but from here on out, we're going to turn our work every time we finish a row. Honestly, you can start at any point you want. I decided to start in between these 2 clusters, but how you start is you're going to insert your hook, get a slip knot on your hook, tighten it, slip stitch, and then grabbing the loop that you've just pulled through, you want to tighten that slip stitch to make a knot. Now we're ready to do the turning chain of 2 and start our first cluster. So in between the space created by the 2 clusters, we're going to work in 2 double crochets, because remember the turning chain of 2, or I suppose the starting chain of 2 here, because we're not turning with the chain, is going to act as a double crochet, and we're going to follow a pattern of doing those 3 clusters in between each one of those clusters up until we reach a corner where we're going to insert our hook into the space created by the chain 2 and do our first cluster of double crochets. And you want to remember this pattern because we're going to be using it for each time we enter into a chain 2 space. We'll do our first cluster, then chain 2, and then do another cluster of 3 double crochets. And because there's only 1 cluster in kind of this side of the rectangle,
once we've finished this cluster, we're going to go straight on into the next chain 2 space and do the exact same pattern of doing those 3 double crochets to create a cluster. Again, making sure they go around the space created by the chain 2. Then we want to go ahead and chain 2 before we then start on our next cluster, still in the same space that we worked into. So this is how the rectangle is going to get bigger, because we're basically increasing the amount of clusters by adding 2 clusters into each one of the spaces in the corner, but only 1 in each one of the spaces along the side. So I've worked all my clusters along the long side, and now I'm ready to do the pattern of cluster, chain 2, cluster all into the chain 2 space. Then I need to add 1 more cluster till I reach the start of my row, and it's at this point that I can slip stitch into the second chain that I made at the start of this row, and then I can do a slip stitch to finish off this row before then cutting my yarn and pulling that string through the loop to finish off this row. Again, to start off this next row, I'm going to pick a completely different area just to spread out where I'm sewing in my ends. And at this point I wanted to start in my chain 2 space for some reason, so I'm actually not going to do the chain 2 kind of pattern. I'm going to start off with the cluster and then join in with the chain 2, but obviously you can start the same way that we started in the row before if that makes more sense to you. But I'm going to start off by doing my first cluster of that chain 2 and those 2 double crochets, which is effectively 3 double crochets. Now we just want to continue the pattern of doing a cluster of 3 double crochets in between each one of the spaces till we reach a corner where we'll do a cluster, chain 2, cluster all into the chain 2 space. And now our short side of the rectangle actually has a space for us to go ahead and work a cluster in between the clusters, because now there's 2. So I would go ahead and do that cluster before I then reach my next chain 2 space. So again, we're going to do our cluster to start off the pattern, so doing those 3 double crochets before we then go ahead to the chain 2 and the cluster into the same space that we just worked into. So in the chain 2 space there should always be a total of 6 double crochets worked into, and effectively we just want to work all the way around. So for me, I'm going to do my final cluster of double crochets, chain 2, and slip stitch into the second chain in my turning chain, just as I did on that first row of clusters to finish off my row. And then I can cut my yarn, pull that through, and I'm just going to continue this pattern to build up a rectangular granny square. You know you can stop adding rows once it's just about the same size, if not maybe a little bit smaller. Basically, your goal now is you just want to repeat the exact same granny square design, and then you're ready to start constructing your case. To add to the border to the iPad case, we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook, and then we want to find a corner and go 1 double crochet into the short side, and that's going to be where we start our border. So you can see here I'm going 1 double crochet in from the chain 2 corner, and I'm pulling up a loop and completing a single crochet. Now around the chain 2 spaces we're gonna do 3 single crochets, and whilst doing this border just double check that you're doing all of your single crochets around both of the panels. And now to go down the sides, we're going to be doing 1 single crochet in between each double crochet. So we should be doing 1 single crochet into the cluster, then do a second one, and then our third one should be in between the actual clusters, not in the clusters, if that makes sense. But it's easiest to just describe it as we're doing 1 single crochet in between each double crochet, and then 3 around the corners. And once you've worked your way around your case, you just want to check that it's nice and secure, and once you're happy with it, you can cut your yarn and finish off your project.
Now I've shown you how to make and construct the case, I'm going to give you the details on how to customize it, because obviously every electronic has different dimensions. I'm not going to go ahead and specify each one. Instead, you want to look up the dimensions of how big your laptop or tablet is online, or even if you have it on hand, you can just go ahead and measure it.
So for this part of the video, I want to explain something real quick. It might be a little bit confusing, but I promise it will make sense in the end. So a granny square, or in this case, I suppose a granny rectangle, grows at the same rate by each row, because each row is being increased by the same amount of stitches. This means the difference that we need in the final rectangle should be present from the first row that we do, because we're going to be growing each row at the same rate. You can see here the difference of my iPad and the starting measurements of the first row is very similar. So even though this iPhone is a lot smaller than the iPad, if I actually go ahead and measure the difference between, oh, poor smiley face, if I actually measure the difference between the long and short side, it's actually the exact same as my iPad. So I can use the same method to start off my granny square, because I know I can build up to the right ratio. And for a phone case, what I would keep in mind is that most people will already have a phone case on, so you almost want to make it bigger than a phone without a phone case, rather than what you'd want to do with an iPad or a laptop, where you'd want to make it more of a similar size. So obviously I don't have to do anything with the pattern in between these two cases, but what happens when we have a dimension that's a little bit different to that 7.5 centimeters that we were working with before? So with this laptop, I can work out that the difference between the long and the short side is actually a little bit greater than I would feel comfortable using my previous pattern with. So as I said earlier, we're working our chain length in a multiple of 3 plus 2. So this time, instead of 11, I decided to pick 14 and then skip one stitch and do 13 single crochets. This means that when I add my clusters of 3 double crochets, I can add 1 extra, which will mean proportionally to the short side, the long side is longer. So once I've completed this round, I can just go ahead and measure everything, and if the difference between the long and the short side are pretty close, which in this case it's only half a centimeter off, I know that I can build up rows without thinking about the measurements too much, but the proportion of how the case fits the laptop is going to be ideal. Doing this just means that you can rest assured knowing that your case is going to fit your laptop or your tablet in the way that it should do.
And that's going to be it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. This case is super cute for presents, but I actually am going to make one for myself just because I do really like the finish. I'm not generally a granny square person when it comes to clothes, but I think granny squares when it comes to bags is super my style, so I definitely want to make one for myself. Maybe even doing a scrap yarn project with this kind of idea would be really cute, so maybe I'll do something like that. Hope you guys enjoyed this pattern. If you end up making it, please tag me on social media so I can see it. Make sure you like this video and comment any questions you have, or if you have any suggestions as to what you want to see in the future, please let me know. If you want any other ideas as to things to make for your friends and family for Christmas, I have a bunch of other tutorials on my channel, so make sure you subscribe. I also sell PDF downloadable patterns if that's more your thing, so I have them on my Etsy if you guys are interested, which will be linked in my description below. Thank you again guys for watching and supporting me, it really does mean a lot. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and I will see you later. Bye.